Hello everyone. Ta-da-dang. We'll have a quick model test on the exam KEA Assistant Professor in English. It is a very vast syllabus and it will be immensely beneficial for all of you. Hannah, I'm excited. We have a KEA Assistant Professor exam course also running, and I'm sure this will immensely benefit you. All right, guys. Are you ready? Yes. People are joining. We have some good questions here. I'm ready. Yes. First question to you. Which of the following works by John Donne is a defense of suicide? Have you heard of this work? It is easy to guess because of the title. From the title you can guess. From the title you can guess. Which is this? Is it Death Be Not Proud? By a Thanatos. By a Thanatos is also about death. By a Thanatos is about death only. It was published posthumously. It talks about suicide with a lot of biblical examples. Will you remember, guys? By a Thanatos is about suicide. It talks about suicide with a lot of examples. So, this is an important book that probably you may not know. Now, to whom in book 6 of Paradise Lost, who did God appoint as the leader of heaven army? Who in book 6 of Paradise Lost did God appoint as the leaders of heaven's army? Who are the leaders? It is Gabriel and Michael. Please remember, in book 6 of Paradise Lost, you can read the 6 books summaries because there are so many important things there. Gabriel and Michael. See now what dullness and her sons admire. See what the charms that smite the simple heart. This one is easy because dullness, goddess dullness appears in which work? Dullness and her sons admire means which work? Everybody should know that goddess dullness is in the Dunciad. It is in the Dunciad that we have goddess dullness. The Dunciad by Alexander Pope. That one was easy because Dunciad has goddess dullness. She is replacing order and science with dullness. Don't you know that? Yes, wonderful. Please read the detailed summary of Paradise Lost as well. Guys, reminding you to like the video. Which of the following poets described Robert Herrick as the greatest songwriter ever born of English race? Which of these writers described Robert Herrick in this manner? Do you know? the greatest songwriter. This man, I will give you some clues. This man had been a major figure of the decadence, and Robert Herrick was a songwriter. This man also was a songwriter. It is A.C. Swinburne. A.C. Swinburne it is. Robert Herrick is the greatest songwriter ever born of the English race. What is the main theme of Mariana by Tennyson? You might know that Mariana is a story that draws from Measure for Measure. Measure for Measure is a dark comedy of Shakespeare. There is also an epigraph from Measure for Measure. Mariana is living in great sorrow because she has been rejected by her lover. Now you should tell me. Mariana is living in great isolation and sorrow. She is morbidly lonely, and she is living in isolation. It is despondent isolation. It is not a happy poem. It is a poem of despondent isolation. Choose the correct chronology of the works of Daniel Defoe. Can you read properly, guys? History of the Plague in London. That was an early work, okay? History of the Plague in London. But what about the True-Born Englishman? That was even earlier. The True-Born Englishman was earlier. Shortest Way with the Descenders. Later work is Roxana. Can you read this? True-Born Englishman first. I will increase the size if you want. True-Born Englishman first. Then The Shortest Way with the Descenders. Can you read now? Then History of the Plague in London. History of the Plague in London. Roxana or the Fortunate Mistress. Roxana or the Fortunate Mistress. These are the different works of Daniel Defoe in chronological order. Remember, True-Born Englishman early, Shortest Way with the Descenders early, then History of the Plague in London, then Roxana, one of the later works. Oh, Sahanaj, you can come to our course in TES. It is going very well. There are some 300 people or something who have joined our course. It's going very well. The character of Isabella in Wuthering Heights is a representative of dash. Tell me, the character of Isabella in Wuthering Heights. Passivity and abuse, spirituality and harmony, impulsiveness, culture and refinement. Arey Kavita, round the year, every month we will have so many offers. Don't worry. Every month we have so many offers. No problem. The character of Isabella in Wuthering Heights is a representative of, is it passivity and abuse? Is it spirituality and harmony? Impulsiveness? It looks like impulsiveness. But she actually represents culture and refinement. She is quite opposite of Heathcliff. Read about the character of Isabella, okay? She is quite opposite of Heathcliff. She represents culture and refinement. Read about, she is impulsive, but this is very important. This is a very important characteristic. Please read about her character. For whom does Pamela work as a maid in Bedfordshire Estate? Is it Lady J.P.B.G.? Did you like the options? For whom does Pamela work as a maid? Is it Lady J.P.B.G.? It is Lady B, the mother of Squire B. Those who want to join courses or anything, you can just WhatsApp our office or WhatsApp me, you will get the links. Office number is, test office number I'll give. It is 9387839871. You can contact and get all the details first. Now, Pamela works as a maid in Bedfordshire estate, remember? Later she she is imprisoned at Lincolnshire. First, she works as a maid in Bedfordshire, later in Lincolnshire. It is Lady PUBG, but it is only B, Lady B. Will you remember? First Bedfordshire, then Lincolnshire. At what age is Fanny Price sent to live in the household of her wealthy uncle and aunt? Fanny Price is in Mansfield Park. Mansfield Park is one of the novels of Jane Austen. Fanny Price is a poor relative of Uncle Bertram and Lady Bertram. Lady Bertram's sister is Mrs. Price. Will you remember, guys? Fanny Price is sent to live in the household of her wealthy aunt and uncle. At what age, Bolo? At what age? It is the age of 10. Fanny Price is sent to live in the household of her wealthy uncle and aunt at the age of 10. The Fortunes of Perkin Warbeck. Have you heard this title? A romance it is. The Fortunes of Perkin Warbeck, a romance, is a historical novel by... Have you heard this title? Is it Walter Scott, Clara Reeve, Anne Radcliffe or Mary Shelley? Bolo, KEA students of mine. It is Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley wrote The Fortunes of Perkin Warbeck. Will you remember? The author of our Frankenstein. This is 1830, much later. Which among the following events did not take place? Did not take place in the year 1812. Which among the following events did not take place in the year 1812 as seen in Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace? Will you please, KEA students, read about War and Peace again if you don't remember, if you don't know? It is the death of Count Rostov. Who is Count Rostov? Do you remember? There are many aristocrats in War and Peace. Count Rostov is the brother of Vera Rostova, Natasha Rostova. Do you remember? At the start of the novel, he is 20 years old and he is a student. Then Count Rostov is dead in the novel. He dies in the novel. He was first a soldier, then he becomes a farmer. At the beginning of the novel, he is 20 years old. He is very straightforward. He does not use his contacts to promote his life, and he ultimately ends in a very bad manner. He has lost all his money and everything. Right. Neither as cold and formal as his elder brother, nor as wild as the younger, but was a happy mean between them. An intelligent, polished, lively and agreeable man. Identify this character. This is a very important protagonist. It is our Ivan Ilyich in The Death of Ivan Ilyich. Ivan Ilyich is described like this. neither as cold and formal as his elder brother, nor as wild as the younger. Remember, Ivan Ilyich is a small book, small novella. Ivan Ilyich dies. He was not a very loving man to anybody, but self-centered man. At the end, he learns his lesson and he learns to appreciate others. On hearing his name, Eureka, or else give me a fulcrum and I will move the world, which famous Greek figure has been described like this by Gustave Flaubert in his satirical work, Dictionary of Received Ideas. Remember, KEA students, Gustave Flaubert wrote Dictionary of Received Ideas. Will you remember? Dictionary of Received Ideas is a satirical work. Which Greek philosopher cried, Eureka? It is Archimedes. It is about Archimedes. He is described in the work Dictionary of Received Ideas. Now, who among the following was the first English translator of Victor Hugo's Notre Dame de Paris? First translator. It is Frederick Chauberl. Frederick Chauberl. What is the name of the cafe owned by Mark Kilman in Derek Walcott's epic poem Omeros? That is very important. That is a very important question, isn't it? Omeros. There is a character, Mark Kilman. What is the name of the cafe she owns? No Pain Cafe. You can get that question in NET also. No Pain Cafe. Very, very important. No Pain Cafe of Mark Kilman in Omeros. Arrange the following memoirs of Wole Soyinka in a chronological manner. Did you know Wole Soyinka wrote all these memoirs? The Man Died, Prison Notes is his first. The Man Died, Prison Notes is his first. Then Ake, The Years of Childhood. So, 4, 2, then Isara, A Voyage Around Essay. And you must set forth at dawn. Remember, these are all memoirs by Wole Soyinka. Will you remember, everybody? In NET also you will have to know this. These are all memoirs of Wole Soyinka. First, The Man Died, Prison Notes. That is very famous. Then, Ake, The Years of Childhood. Then, Isara, A Voyage Around Essay. And you must set forth at dawn. Yes. Always asking questions. Questions will take you nowhere. About whom did Chief Izongo remark in Gabriel Okara's novel, The Voice? Remember, guys, Gabriel Okara has written a famous novel called The Voice. Will you remember? Gabriel Okara has written a famous novel called The Voice. And Chief Izongo is a character. Who is the protagonist of The Voice? That is the answer. Who is the protagonist of The Voice? Okolo. Okolo is the voice. Okolo, he is the voice. Who offends the elders. Okolo is the voice who offends the elders with his search for truth. Will you remember, guys? That is the story of The Voice by Gabriel Okara. Okolo, will you remember? That is the main character. Questions will take you nowhere. If you know a little bit about the novel, this is an easy question. Because Okolo is always asking questions. So the chief is angry. And chief says, why are you asking so many questions? Questions will never take you anywhere. It is Okolo who asks questions. Will you remember? Then, who made the mistaken assertion that Keats had been killed by a cruel review of Endymion? who argued that Keats was killed by Endymion reviews? Who criticized Endymion for their reviews and thus killing Keats? Of course, it is Shelley in the preface to Adonai. Shelley says this in the preface to Adonai. Adonai is an pastoral elegy. Adonai is a pastoral elegy, and in Adonai, Shelley is lamenting the death of Keats, as you know. Shelley says that Keats was killed by Endymion reviews. Will you remember, guys? Okay. So Adonai is Keats in that book. Adonai represents Keats. It was a very late work, 1821. In 1822, Shelley died. Keats died in 1821. Shelley died in 1822. Will you remember? Endymion was an early work. And Endymion this is wrong, I think. Endymion was an early work, and Endymion was attacked by Blackwood's Magazine and Quarterly Review. Why was Endymion attacked? Because Endymion did not have an upper class style. Endymion did not have an upper class style. Blackwood's Magazine and Quarterly Review attacked Keats and Endymion and called Keats Cockney School. Called Keats the founder of Cockney School. Keats, Hazlitt and Leigh Hunt were all attacked in Endymion and Blackwood's Magazine and Quarterly Review. Keats, Hazlitt and Leigh Hunt were all attacked in Blackwood's Magazine and Quarterly Review. Shelley dedicated his spiritual autobiography, Alastor, or The Spirit of Solitude, to Thomas Love Peacock. Did you know that? Thomas Love Peacock was a neighbor of Shelley. What does the name Alastor refer to? What does the name Alastor refer to? Is Alastor the hero of the poem? Is Alastor the poet? Is Alastor Thomas Love Peacock? Is Alastor the spirit who divinely animates the poet's imagination? The main character of Alastor is poet. The main character of Alastor is poet. Yes, Vijay. Main character of Alastor is poet. And the spirit who animates the poet's imagination is Alastor. Alastor is the spirit who animates the poet's imagination. Will you remember? Thomas Love Peacock was living next to Shelley's house, and Shelley was inspired by Thomas Love Peacock. Later, when Peacock wrote 4 ages of poetry, Peacock wrote 4 ages of poetry. Then Shelley wrote The Defense of Poetry, a defense of poetry. Shelley wrote a defense of poetry in reply to Thomas Love Peacock's 4 ages of poetry. Defense of Poetry was published posthumously. And Defense of Poetry talks about the poet as a nightingale. I was teaching in criticism and theory course. Are you guys anybody here doing criticism and theory course? Remember, the poet is compared to a nightingale. And Shelley also famously said, poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. Shelley talks about imagination. Very important. And Alastor is a spiritual autobiography. Do you know this is an early work, okay? Alastor is an early work. There is a later spiritual autobiography. Do you know the name? It is Epipsychidion. A later work is Epipsychidion. Then, which of the following poems by Keats, following poems by Keats deals with the story of the shepherd with whom the moon goddess Cynthia falls in love. You know it, I'm sure. A shepherd is sleeping on Mount Latmos. Mount Latmos. Cynthia, the moon goddess, falls in love with him, grants him eternal sleep. In which poem is it? Yes, some of you are telling the answer. It is indeed Endymion. Endymion is the shepherd sleeping on Mount Latmos, and Endymion is loved by the moon goddess Cynthia. And Endymion is a poem by Keats, a novel by Benjamin Disraeli, a play by John Lilly. Endymion, what is the opening line of Endymion? A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Endymion opens with the line, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Endymion 1818. Same year, which other poem? Isabella. Endymion 1818, same year came Isabella. What is the subtitle of Isabella? A pot of basil. Isabella, a pot of basil. Did you like the video, guys? Did you like the questions? The nostalgic poems which talk about Byron's Harrow friendships are called. The nostalgic poems of Byron which talk about his friendships at Harrow. The nostalgic poems which talk about Byron's friendships at Harrow. What is Harrow? Harrow means a very major school. Byron went to Harrow. Do you know the collection of Byron's poems? It is called Childish Recollections. Byron wrote childish recollections about his Harrow friendship. Hobhouse, famous man who was Byron's friend. Which among the following is not an Oriental tale by Byron? Which among the following is not an Oriental tale by Byron? Lara, the Giaour, the Corsair. It is the Isles of Greece. The Isles of Greece is not a part of the Oriental tales. Oriental tales Byron wrote after Childe Harold's pilgrimage, after his travels. Oriental tales. Lara, Giaour, Corsair, the Bride of Abydos. These are the Oriental tales. The Bride of Abydos. Then, which poem from Ariel is regarded as one of Sylvia Plath's finest poems on freedom of expression of an artist? Which poem from Ariel is regarded as one of Sylvia Plath's finest poems on freedom of expression of an artist? Freedom of expression of an artist. Do you know? It is Morning Song. Remember, guys, very important. Tulips, very important. Please read about these poems. Morning Song is a poem about freedom of expression of an artist. She has also written Mary's Song. Morning Song is there. Mary's Song is also there. Will you remember? Now, Ennui by Sylvia Plath is a dash. Ennui by Sylvia Plath. Have you heard of Ennui? Is it an ode, sonnet, elegy or journal? Ode, sonnet, elegy or journal. Ennui by Sylvia Plath is a sonnet. Sonnet. She has written many sonnets. She has also written a villanelle. Will you remember? Sylvia Plath sonnets like that. If you want, you can Google search. so that you will remember. Okay? Then, which of the following plays written by Pinter cannot be classified as a memory play? Which of the following plays written by Pinter cannot be classified as a memory play? Is it Landscape, Old Times, No Man's Land, The Homecoming? Do you know which are the memory plays? Which are the memory plays, do you know? Landscape is a memory play. Old Times, famous. Old Times and No Man's Land are famous memory plays of Pinter. The answer is The Homecoming. The Homecoming. Don't forget, okay? Like Tennessee Williams, Pinter also wrote memory plays. Landscape, Old Times, No Man's Land. These are memory plays. Okay, Shri Nayak, it is too late. We are almost ending now. It's almost time now. But you can WhatsApp me and you will get the details. We have all the notes. We had a full course. In which year was Harold Pinter awarded the Nobel Prize? Bolo, remember KEA students? All your major authors, Nobel Prize, or chronologically you should remember, okay? Chronologically for major authors. Yes. Harold Pinter, when did he get the Nobel Prize? 2005. When did Seamus Heaney get the Nobel Prize, Bolo? Seamus Heaney. It is 1995. All our major authors, when they got Nobel Prize, you should remember, okay? All right. Then, which work of Samuel Beckett is called by Harold Bloom as the greatest prose drama of the 20th century? Which work of Samuel Beckett is called by Harold Bloom as the greatest prose drama of the 20th century? Do you know? Is it Waiting for Godot or Endgame? Murphy is not even drama. Prose drama. Murphy is a novel. Crab's Last Ape is a one-act play. It is Endgame. Harold Bloom called Endgame the greatest prose drama of the 20th century. The greatest prose drama of the 20th century is Endgame. Will you remember, guys? Yes, my WhatsApp number is 9037357688. 9037357688. So, Samuel Beckett's Endgame was called by Harold Bloom as the greatest prose drama of the 20th century. Shabana Qureshi, how are you? What was the subtitle for the French version of the play? Waiting for Godot. That is a trick question. What was the subtitle? What was the subtitle? Bolo? No, sometimes I personally reply. It is because I have back-to-back sessions that I am not able to personally reply. Otherwise, who is replying? My husband is replying. Some days I am not getting any time to even look at the phone. That is why. My husband is the one who is replying. I will reply most of the time. What was the subtitle for the French version of the play? There was no subtitle in the French version. Some days I'm like dead. I'm so tired. My throat is paining. My eyes are paining. So my husband helps me. That's all. Nobody else. Only me and my husband. Ranu Soni, you can all again text me. I will find all the time when I am teaching. All the time people are messaging. So many people are messaging. That's why it is a blessing, but humanly not possible. Which statement among the following is not true about sons and lovers? Bolo, do you know this? In 1913 edition of the work, the 1913 edition of the work was heavily edited by Edward Garnett. 1913 edition of the work was heavily edited by Edward Garnett. Is it correct? The work was published by Gerald Duckworth and Company Limited. Is it correct? Sons and Lovers published by whom? Gerald Duckworth and Company. Correct? It is correct. Edward Garnett edited is correct. Gerald Duckworth is correct. Ranu Soni, what happens is I have put an automatic reply because many people are asking me for link, etc. So automatically if it goes, it is better for everyone. They don't have to wait. That automatic reply is what you think as business promotion. It is not to promote business, but many people are asking me for link. So those people don't have to wait immediately. They get the link. That is why. In this work, William, the eldest son of Mrs. Morrell, dies of tuberculosis. Is wrong. It is pneumonia. It is pneumonia. The novel was cited as one of the best novels by Harold Bloom in the Western canon. The novel is cited by one of the best novels in the Western canon by Harold Bloom. That is Sons and Lovers. Okay? Remember everyone? Edited by Edward Garnett. The work was published by Gerald Duckworth and Company. Who among the following said that it is the search of integrity and wholeness? That the search of integrity and wholeness is the main subject of Lady Chatterley's Lover, and not the sexual passages in it that were the causes of debates. This is a very famous question. This is very famous. Shabana, what is this, Shabana? Who among the following said that it is the search for integrity and wholeness is the main subject of Lady Chatterley's Lover? It is not the sexual passages in it that are the causes of debates. It is Richard Hogarth. Richard Hogarth was the witness for Penguin in the obscenity trial. Remember Richard Hogarth, the man who started Cultural Studies Group, Center for Contemporary Culture Studies, started by Richard Hogarth. He was the main witness of Penguin in the obscenity trial. And here he is saying that it is the search for integrity and wholeness that is the main subject of Lady Chatterley's Lover. Kya hai Shabana? Shabana, Shabana, Shabana. Who is the first person journalist narrator in The Quiet American by Graham Greene? So many questions so many authors are there in KEA. I like it. Who is the first person narrator in The Quiet American by Graham Greene? Everybody, Graham Greene wrote The Quiet American. Will you remember? Who is the first person journalist narrator? It is Thomas Fowler. Remember, Graham Greene wrote The Quiet American. It is narrated by Thomas Fowler. He is a first person journalist narrator. Very good. Which character among the following in Animal Farm is an allegorical combination of Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin? Karl Marx plus Vladimir Lenin. Which character? Bolo, guys. It is Old Major. Old Major who teaches the animals the philosophy of animalism. Old Major teaches the animals the philosophy of animalism. Will you remember? Old Major is both Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin. Who is the daughter of Okonkwo? Okonkwo's daughter, do you know? The only daughter of his wife Ekwefi, who grows up to be an exceptionally courageous woman. Bolo. Okonkwo's daughter, famous character. She grows up into a courageous woman. Ezinma. Yes. Ezinma is the daughter of Ekwefi and Okonkwo. She grows up into an exceptionally courageous woman. Have you heard of this, guys? How the leopard got his claws is a dash by Achibi. How the leopard got his claws is a dash by Achibi. It is a fable. NTA people, they can ask in net also, okay? How the leopard got his claws is a fable by Achibi. Will you remember? Thank you so much for joining me live. I love it. This is wonderful because you are live with me. My worries doze is a famous phrase found in which poem of Kamala Das? My worries doze. Famous phrase from which poem? I'm so happy. My NTA NET students are all answering. Lata, Savitri, so many of you. Thank you, Ranu. Ye bolo, my worries doze is a famous poem from phrase from Summer in Calcutta. Please read the poems, okay? Read important poems, okay, guys? There is still time. There is still time. Read all the important poems at least half an hour every day. Okay. Don't call it suicide is a dash by Nizam Ezekiel. Don't call it suicide. Have you heard, guys? Don't call it suicide. Love you all. So many of you are telling me love you. Thank you, guys. I'm blessed. Guys, a lot of people are protesting, going to protest against NTA. We hope something will work out. If you want, you can join our group in Telegram, and I had made a video on it. And so many people are making preparations there to file RTI, and if some people get to pass their revised results, it is wonderful, na? I think they will revise results. Many of you might pass. Yes, guys, don't call it suicide. It's a tragedy by Nissim Ezekiel. If you can, you should please join the group and file RTI and see if you can do something productive. We want a 6% result. That is the name of our group. Now, don't call it suicide is a tragedy by Nissim Ezekiel. Which two-act play written by Girish Karnadis is based on Kathasaritsagara, as well as easy question, Thomas Mann's retelling of Transposed Heads. I think you can, Ranu. Bolo. Which two-act play written by Girish Karnadis is based on Kathasaritsagara and Thomas Mann's retelling of Transposed Heads? Everybody will know it is Hayavadana. Hayavadana. Transposed Heads, Henna. Which among the following is Mahesh Dattani's first full-length play that revolves around the events following the death of Hasmukh Mehta? Mahesh Dattani's first full-length play that revolves around the events following the death of Hasmukh Mehta. It is Where There Is a Will. After his death, Hasmukh Mehta is coming as a ghost. Hasmukh Mehta is coming as a ghost. Which play by, and he is controlling his family still. Which play by Vijay Tendulkar was based on the 1956 novel Die Panne by Swiss playwright Friedrich Dürrenmatt. This is also somewhat famous. Vijay Tendulkar's play based on a Swiss novel. It is Silence, the court is in session. Will you remember, everyone? Silence, the court is in session. Which Bengali translator and poet among the founding figures of Indo-Anglian literature is known for a sheaf gleaned in French fields? Which Bengali translator and poet wrote a sheaf gleaned in French fields? All of you know this poet lived in France, partly. This poet lived in France. It is Toru Dutt. Toru Dutt. Toru Dutt. Now, which novel by Amitav Ghosh, published in 1995, begins with the story of Antar? Which novel by Amitav Ghosh begins with the story of Antar, a resident of the future New York, doing data processing for the International Water Council? He is working for International Water Council. Bolo, Antar, Murugan, malaria parasite, Ronald Rose. All this is in the Calcutta chromosome. The Calcutta chromosome. Yes. In the writing of which novel did R.K. Narayan consult? Sorry for the mistakes. In the writing of which novel did R.K. Narayan consult with the noted conservation scientist Ullas Karand? And he also used the myth of Buddha's enlightenment. Wow. In which novel by R.K. Narayan is there reference of Buddha's enlightenment? Do you know Lata, Arjunan, Sandhya, Geeta, Uma, Bolo Bolo? R.K. Narayan consulted a conservation scientist and also used the myth of Buddha's enlightenment in A Tiger for Malgudi. A Tiger for Malgudi. Who in the famous essay Art as Technique? Today I taught in Criticism and Theory course, in NET course. Who in the famous essay Art as Technique 1917 offers his notion of defamiliarization as the defining feature of literary texts. Defamiliarization, art as technique. It is Victor Shklovsky. It is Victor Shklovsky. Wonderful. Combinations or relations formed by a position within a chain. This is from structuralism. In structuralism, combinations or relations formed by position within a chain is called what? It is called syntagm. Syntagmatic relations is a linear relation. Will you remember? Syntagmatic relation is a linear relation. Paradigmatic relation is selection and vertical. Syntagmatic is horizontal. Will you remember, everyone? Paradigmatic is vertical axis. It shows selection. Syntagmatic is combination. And it is horizontal. Will you remember? Don't make a mistake there. Syntagmatic is vertical. Paradigmatic is horizontal. Okay? And it is a linear relation, because it comes in a chain in language. Combination, it is not called linearity. When syntagm is there, only this is the answer. It is not linearity. There is no term called linearity. It is syntagm. Poetry is a feat of style by which a complex of meaning is handled all at once. This definition of poetry is taken from intentional fallacy. Did you know that? This definition of poetry is taken from intentional fallacy. Who is the author? Who wrote this line? Poetry is a feat of style by which a complex of meaning is handled all at once. Detailed course for next year's PGTRB. Let me see, okay? Let me see. It is Wimsatt and Beardsley. Wimsatt and Beardsley, of course. Wimsatt and Beardsley. Arrange the works of Virginia Woolf chronologically. Which is the earliest work among these? Jacob's Room, Mrs. Dalloway. When is Jacob's Room? 1922. Mrs. Dalloway, 1925. To the Lighthouse, 1927, I think. Last is Years. Which of these is correct? Jacob's Room, Mrs. Dalloway. To the Lighthouse. Orlando, then wait, this is the answer. This is the answer. Jacob's Room first, then Mrs. Dalloway, then To the Lighthouse. KEA students, are you paying attention? Don't forget. Then Orlando, The Waves and The Years. Arrange the works of D.H. Lawrence chronologically. White Peacock, White Peacock, 1911. Sons and Lovers, 1913. Then Rainbow, Women in Love. Last is Lady Chatterley's Lover. You can't go wrong there. White Peacock is the first novel. Second is, here second is Sons and Lovers. White Peacock is followed by Trespasser. In actual list, White Peacock is followed by Trespasser. After that, Sons and Lovers. The Rainbow and Women in Love. And then Lady Chatterley's Lover. 1928, Lady Chatterley's Lover first published. Then 1960. Will you remember, guys? Don't make a mistake, okay? White Peacock. What is the other name, other title for White Peacock? Other title for White Peacock? It is Laetitia. Sons and Lovers, Paul Morrell. Rainbow and Women in Love were together conceived as the Sisters or Wedding Ring. The Sisters or Wedding Ring. Yes. So that is the correct option. The White Peacock, Sons and Lovers, The Rainbow, Women in Love and Lady Chatterley's Lover. Okay, guys. Yes, Women in Love has Ursula and Gertrude. The women in love, the two women in love are Ursula and Gertrude. Wonderful. Are you all feeling confident, KEA students? I have a surprise for you. I am going to start quizzes for you, online quizzes for you from at the end of February for 10 days, Paka Perfect, or for 2 weeks quiz I am going to start. For KEA, I am going to start 2 weeks quiz, Paka Perfect, everything so good. All good questions I am going to make. What do you say? But I need 1 more week because we are a little busy with all this. Okay, wonderful. So that is the end of today's questions. Did you like it, everyone? Thank you very much. I think it is amazing that we have these questions tomorrow. For 5 days, I am going to do KEA. You know why? Their exam is coming up. And also, this is going to help all of you because it will help in NET, SET, everything. JK, SET, so many exams are coming up. For everything, this will be useful. Okay, thank you, guys. All the best, Uma. All the best. You will do well. Okay, thank you. Good night. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you will like the video before you go. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.